Hello gamers and welcome to Xbot and Pony. My name is Phil.
My name is Nick.
And we are just two passionate gamers from two different sides of the fence. I'm a big PlayStation fan, as you can see. And Nick, what do you support?
Love my Xbox.
Hey, good man. How are you enjoying being in third place?
Not as much as I would enjoy being in first, like you.
The view's pretty good from the top, I'm not going to lie. You know, it's pretty sweet.
Pretty big games in the last 5 years. So.
Yeah. So every week we're going to talk a little bit about the different news that's going on in gaming. So we're going to focus obviously on Sony and Xbox, and then we're going to hopefully battle it out a little bit and decide who won the week. So, yeah. Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your life? Why did you end up making poor decisions like becoming an Xbox fan?
Okay, so since I was little, definitely loved my gaming. My uncle got me into gaming when I was pretty young, into computers, fixing computers actually before even the games come into it. Old Commodore 64, Amiga 500, games like Rick Dangerous, Space Invaders, Gods, Wonder Boy, then the classics Doom, Wolfenstein. Just love games from day dot. Didn't matter what they were on, where they were. Obviously, coming into Xbox, used to be a Nintendo fan, hardcore Nintendo fan. And yes, a fanboy. I was pretty bad and pretty biased. Hardware-wise, future going forward, obviously, and being a first-person shooter fan, Xbox has kind of taken over from Nintendo. But always love Nintendo, always will, and still own PlayStation. Will always play PlayStation as well, but it's third on my list. How about you, Phil?
So I actually originally grew up probably more of a Sega fan when I was a kid. The very first console I ever owned was a Sega Master System. So, did you ever? Sorry?
How do we pronounce it? Sega or Sega?
Oh, okay. Oh, Sega, obviously. I know in Australia you guys are weird. You pronounce it Sega. Like it was S-E-A. What the hell is that? That's weird.
I don't know. We're weird. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You did, you scumbag. All right, that's what Xbox does. All right, you try and interrupt. You try and sort of put your, I don't know what you'd call it, like your spin on something, but you're not good at it. You're just rubbish. Yeah. So I grew up actually weirdly as a Sega fanboy. The very first console I ever owned was a Sega Master System that my granddad bought me, and my mom was so pissed. She was not impressed. She was very much anti-video games at the time. And so I remember playing, obviously, Alex Kidd was the built-in game, you know, where you didn't even have to put a cartridge in. So good. And then the opposite end, I had Cloudmaster, which was one of the hardest games I'd ever played. And I only beat it 2 years ago. So there you go. But yeah, my mum always had these sort of rules about the games. They always had to be in the front room. They always had to be a game that my brother and I could play together. It had to be a social thing. Yeah. But I don't think I really owned a new console until the Sega Dreamcast. That was the one that really where that was mine, and I got interested in the news. I wanted to know every game that was coming out, and that's what lit the fire, I think, for me properly. And it's been like that ever since. And probably Dreamcast was the point where I had to swallow my pride and accept that, you know, Sony had beaten them, Sony had destroyed them, and that's where I started down the dark path.
Sega the Dreamcast had a very, very rough launch, especially in Australia. I remember walking to Harvey Norman and there was 3 games on the shelf, couldn't buy a second controller, there was no online access. Yeah. There was just nothing. There was no accessories, nothing. It was, they rushed it and they made a big mistake. They're still alive today and still making games, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think it did fairly well in the UK at the time, at least for a couple of years. I remember quite a few of my mates having it, but the PS2 just demolished it, absolutely demolished it. Yeah. So, in fact, very guiltily, I remember at the time trading in my Dreamcast to get a PS2, and I regretted that. So regretted it. I know. And now the games are stupidly expensive, so I shouldn't have done that.
Go figure. Yeah. Hard to pick this back in the day. A lot of my mates had Dreamcast as well. So I did get to play a lot of Dreamcast from my friend's place, which was good. But yeah, I didn't own one myself until recently. That's funny enough. That's how we met. selling retail.
It is. Yeah, I bought a game called Blue Stinger off you.
You did.
I did. But, not a great game, not gonna lie, but for some reason it's got its charm. And I don't know if it's the weird Christmas music that you hear when it's set in like July, or the weird sort of like wooden animations that they do. I don't know, where they just kind of rock back and forth. But I love it. It's got its charm.
Yeah, I haven't played that one, unfortunately, but you were pretty happy when you got it off me. So
I was. Now I can't get rid of you.
yeah, that happens. That happens. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you stuck around, man.
Got an interesting story. So my favorite console would be the Nintendo 64.
Nice.
I was in high school when that came out, and of course there was a big decision: 64 PlayStation, very big. My dad was the one that actually convinced me to get the Nintendo. We played PlayStation before. Went down to Big W. It was. They had their little displays up, and I played a little game called GoldenEye 007.
Very good, man. Yes.
And that was the decisive blow that day. So I said, I'm going to get that one. So they didn't pay for it. I had to pay for it myself. They gave me, I can't remember how much it was, but it was a lot of money. So they gave me $100 and said, you got to pay the rest off. So I literally lay by this Nintendo 64. I'd get my lunch money for school. We get lunch maybe 2 days a week, I think it was in high school, lunch money. I wouldn't buy lunch. I'd go down and I'd put $6 or $8 on this lay-by. And you could only do
that's cute.
20 transactions on your lay-by. And the girls down there knew me by name. And I'd come in sometimes and I'd put $2 down or something on my lay-by, and they'd have to cancel the lay-by and re-lay-by it because I put too many payments on the lay-by. But I eventually got the Nintendo 64, and played GoldenEye and a game called San Francisco Rush and Midway, and was absolutely obsessed with that game. I wish they'd remaster that. Unlikely to happen, but yeah, GoldenEye, #1 game, and 64 #1 console. But yeah, hardcore dedication to making sure I got that console. It was a lot of fun.
I'm actually quite proud of you there, man. Like, you were dedicated to the cause and you made it happen. And yeah, GoldenEye is probably, like, if I had to put like a top 10 together, and that's pretty hard because that changes all the time. Like, GoldenEye would be in there for sure. And like, the controls have aged definitely, but it's still fun. It really is, especially when you got a group of mates together. I got to tell you, there's a story actually. Last year, I was in Japan, and we went to this little gaming bar where they had all these consoles set up on the TVs, right? If you can imagine, I walked into this bar, and there were like 4 Japanese dudes there, and that was it, like, and the barman. Yeah. And it was like a proper Western cowboy moment where the doors fling open, I walk in, and everyone just kind of stops and turns and looks at me, because I was like the only Westerner that had walked into this place. And I sort of go to the bar and I order my drink, and they're all just kind of watching and staring, and I was like, this is really odd. And then I look around the consoles and I find GoldenEye, I put it in the console, I turn it on, and again, these guys are just still kind of staring, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm in a bad place, and I turn around and just go to them, I go, do you guys want to play? And their faces lit up. They got stupidly excited. They came and jumped over to like the stools, and they started playing GoldenEye with me, and it was so much fun. And we're talking, what, 20 years later, like, maybe 30 years later, something like that. And we were getting so much joy out of it. It was really good. Yeah, real highlight.
Honestly, not many games would you look outside and the sun's up and you'd be like, oh, better go to bed now.
Oh, that definitely happened. Yeah.
Just playing multiplayer with your friends, and a lot of the kids these days, they have no idea. They're playing their Halos and their Fortnites because of GoldenEye. Like, first-person shooters weren't meant to work on consoles, let alone a multiplayer first-person shooter. And the multiplayer was tacked on in 3 months. So something that was never planned for the game. A game that was a light gun shooter, like Time Crisis, turned into a first-person shooter, turned into possibly the most important multiplayer game in video game history.
You're not wrong. But, the greatest tragedy, obviously, old man rant coming in, is that there's not much of that split screen multiplayer anymore. Like, I don't know. I used to really miss that. Like, having people come round, get together. You can actually punch the dude next to you who's being an ass. as opposed to online, where it's some 14-year-old in America somewhere. Yeah, it's just not the same.
Insults down the microphone. It's not the same. It's an old man rant. I get that because my younger brothers, they that's all they do. Call of Duty online.
Yeah.
My other mates, Fortnite online, but it's not for me. I can do it. I can play, but it's not something I do all the time. It's something I want to discuss about Nintendo later on as well. How I love Nintendo, but it's hard to get into Smash Brothers and Mario Kart unless you're playing in the room with somebody. Like, they are couch multiplayer games, and as good as they are, it's nowhere near as fun unless somebody's sitting next to you and you can trash talk them as you hit them with that red shell or that
I
blue
do like
shell.
Nintendo still sort of carrying that flag of split screen multiplayer, or couch co-op. But you're right, it's harder to make it happen now, for sure.
Yeah. Still classic game, and maybe one day we will get a proper remake. One day.
Yes, please. Not that rubbish. What I've got it on the PS3. I think it was on the Wii as well, wasn't it? That GoldenEye remake.
They pushed it on the.
Yeah, because you could use like the Wiimote, couldn't it, to aim and things like that. But it felt like a Call of Duty game. It was just
Call of Duty. It literally ran on a toned down Call of Duty engine because the way the gun and it was looking down your sights and it was a quick cash grab that made a lot of money. They sold a lot of because everybody thought it was GoldenEye, and then they started playing it and like, why is it Daniel Craig? Hang on a second, what? This isn't the same levels. What's going on? By itself, if the original GoldenEye didn't exist, we probably wouldn't say it was that bad, but it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
We played a little bit of multiplayer.
Maybe we can dream that one day, there was that Mario 64 PC port that happened recently. All we can do is dream that someone will do that to GoldenEye, and it will look gorgeous, and it will control better, and it will be wonderful. Maybe someone will put online play on that.
We have there's a PC remake coming out called GoldenEye 25, done by about 3 dudes. They have actually managed to get the original Dr. Doak and Grant that did the music from they're actually helping them with this game. It's an unofficial.
Fantastic.
It will never come to consoles. Hopefully Nintendo won't shut it down. It is built from the ground up. They're not using any assets, so legally I don't think they can shut it down. They might need to rename it from GoldenEye 25, but it looks incredible, and it's obviously won't be the same as a proper remake or remaster from Microsoft or Nintendo. But then there's also the Xbox Live Arcade version, which is 90% done.
Yeah, I remember when the footage came out for that. It looked stunning. It looked really good.
That footage that leaked and the actual interviews for Rare Replay. So they tried a second time to put that onto Rare Replay and obviously missed out. And the rumors are Nintendo is the one that's blocked that twice now. So
well, maybe we can dream, like some of those Xbox exclusives have made it over to the Switch. Dare we dream that Rare Replay could come over to the Switch with GoldenEye on it?
It could happen.
Oh, come on. Summer of Gaming, man. Make it happen.
Do a new version for Series X or something, Rare Replay 2.0 with GoldenEye on both consoles and share the love, and everybody would love that. I mean, the Switch is online, Xbox is online, so I think everybody would be happy with that. I don't think anybody would complain. I think they might even sell a few Xbox consoles.
You never know. Yeah. No. It maybe it would convince me to go to the dark side, but I'm saying a big maybe here. Maybe. Or maybe I'll just come to yours and try it out.
I'm pretty sure that's what'll happen.
Yeah. Sounds good. So, talking of also old school games then, Nick, what would you say are like your top 5 of all time? Because that is a nasty question.
That's a hard one. And there's going to be some left out, which I will regret leaving out. And it changes a lot. It does. Okay, so my top 5 all-time GoldenEye, and these are no particular order, just off the top of my head, GoldenEye / Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark beats GoldenEye in every department, hands down. You can't. It's technically still does stuff that some first-person shooters these days don't, and it bemuses me that a game that old, 20 years. It's 20 years yesterday. 20-year anniversary.
Yes, I saw that. That was pretty. That makes me feel old, though, man. Like, don't like it. Shut up! You can't tell me things like that. Shut up!
Fingers crossed the initiative are doing a reboot. That's the rumors. We'll find out soon enough. July.
Jokes aside, that I think would genuinely sort of tease me towards that Series X. If there was a new Perfect Dark and they did a good job with it, not like what was the 360 game that they made?
Perfect Dark Zero was a prequel.
Yes.
And it was rushed, which you get from most launch titles. They didn't know the hardware. I mean, stones were shiny. Like everything was shiny. They really tried to push the visuals, and the gameplay comes second. Unfortunately, visuals can take a step back, and let's concentrate. Yeah, it was rushed. There was a lot of ragdoll issues with the physics for the ragdoll physics, and the story wasn't that great. It was, they changed the character a bit, but hopefully we can get, Sony Studios style AAA presentation, movie-like.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
With Joanna Dark, and that's what every Xbox fan wants. I mean, obviously, there's going to be plenty that don't know who Perfect Dark, Joanna Dark is, or what Perfect Dark is, but it's on the Xbox. You can play it with backwards compatibility. It looks brilliant in 4K. I had a little go at it not long ago, just on the Xbox One X. And it looks absolutely brilliant. And again, it does beat GoldenEye in every way, but GoldenEye has that nostalgia. And as a James Bond fan, it's just it's my favorite over Perfect Dark.
I'm with you there, man. There are games like that where you can be honest and say, like, technically, I get that this version's way better, but I've got that nostalgia for the older one. And so for me, that's Mario Kart 64, right? Where I can look at that and go, objectively, doesn't control that well really anymore. The visuals do look quite rough by modern standards, and Mario Kart 8 is objectively like the best version of Mario Kart. It's polished, it runs smoothly, but I'm always going to have that nostalgia, and I'm always going to want to pick up that controller and be a sort of real cheating, horrible person and jump over the walls in Wario Stadium and all of that. Yeah.
To us, yes. I recall. That wasn't very nice.
Yes.
I do have the ability to remember the spawn spots in GoldenEye multiplayer, so if I'm playing one, I know where they're about to spawn, especially in the facility. I remembered what order it goes in, and that's why we got to play with you have to pick up a gun rule, otherwise.
So that's why you demolished me last time. Now it makes sense. I was like, there's no way. Either he's screen hacking or he really, really knows where I'm appearing.
Memory is a little rusty, but you get the pattern down, and if you're too close, actually, the game does jump you to a different spawn spot, which is pretty good for a game that old. But that was a bit naughty. You were jumping.
Xbot, you're all cheaters, all right? You can't play honest.
It's one of those, probably always will be up there as my best game ever.
Good choice, my man. Good choice.
Followed by, I've got Trilogy written here, but Metro Prime.
Also a good choice.
It's Retro did something amazing. They took a 2D game and they turned it into a 3D platformer that wasn't a shooter that you still had to shoot, but they did it so well. It was just like playing Super Metroid in 3D. They did it well. The music in that game, the soundtrack is a soundtrack I literally have on my phone and I do listen to. So I don't have a lot of gaming soundtracks on my phone, but I will listen to that soundtrack. I do have some GoldenEye tunes as well, more for ringtones, but Metro Prime, I can literally listen to the music in bed and go to sleep to it. It is just amazing. Incredible soundtrack, and the level design, everything they did in that game was just perfect. Kind of cheated and put in the trilogy, which again I'm hoping comes out on Switch.
I can't wait until they announce that at the Game Awards this year.
Maybe next year. Maybe 2023.
It's totally confirmed. It's totally coming.
It is. Still standing by it.
Hey, I'm with you, man. Like I mock, but if they announce it day one, I'm there with you. I can't wait.
I think the delaying's probably a good idea with what they had to do with Metro Prime 4. And they're not like many other companies. Many companies will just release a game. Nintendo won't do that. If it's not up to scratch, Crackdown 3. They just won't release.
Hey. Yeah.
It's one of
No,
those
good
things.
choice, man. Good choice. Like Metroid Prime trilogy, like definitely a good one.
It's up there, and I've got my copy. Expensive, nice little thing to hold on to, and I'll never let go of that one. And then number 3, I've written down Resident Evil 2 / remake.
Ooh, now that raises a good question. Which one pushes the other one out?
Which one do I prefer now? And I'm going to go with remake.
Good man. Yay!
I think Capcom are obviously they've done 2 games now that have been remade. The first Resident Evil and number 2, and they've done it better than any other company ever. I haven't had a chance to play Final Fantasy VII yet. You have, so you can probably give a bit of feedback into that. I have played the original Final Fantasy VII, but not my type of game, not into those turn-based RPGs. I do play Worms, but wasn't a huge Final Fantasy fan. And it seems to be a bit split. A lot of fans love it, and a lot of fans don't like it at all. So, and you get that with remakes. I mean, a lot of people want it to be the exact same thing, but that's just boring. If we just give it a fresh coat of paint and play the exact same thing again, as much as it looks good, it's kind of boring. You're not challenging yourself as a developer or a fan to experience something slightly new. So I'm going to go with remake just because of how good the voice acting is in that. The characters, not that it's perfect. There's a few things I don't like in the remake, but especially remake 3, but we will talk about that maybe in another video. The story, the way they brought the characters to life, Robert Kendo was just a bit of a comedic character in the original, and they've turned him into a full, with short screen time, but they've turned him into a full-fledged character you care about.
Yeah.
And Marvin as well. Obviously Marvin got a few cameos in the other games as well on the PlayStation, but his character and his voice actor I thought was probably the best in there. Not just voice, they kind of chose the people, the voices to go with the faces as well for the characters. So hands down, presentation wise, gameplay wise, the characters feel heavy, they move well, and you know how many hours I put into that game.
Oh yeah, like this guy is a true Resident Evil 2 legend. Go on, tell us, Nick. Reveal your shame and pride at the same time. Go.
I got a couple of speed runs, but yeah, I can do the sub 90 minute. I'm not a speed runner on PC like they do under 1 hour. That's crazy the way they manipulate the game. They don't play the game. They manipulate the game. They find all the little shortcuts they can. But I didn't have to pay for the rocket launcher and Gatling gun like someone.
I know. Who would do that? That is just pure scum. You know, if anyone does that, they should never claim to be a gaming fan and should definitely not do a gaming podcast. We should shoot that guy.
Shooting's a bit...
With a rocket launcher.
We with rocket launcher and then finish him off with a Gatling gun.
There you go.
That I unlocked with skill.
Yeah.
We'll move on from Resident Evil because I can talk for hours about Resident Evil. Huge Resident Evil fan franchise, and exciting times because we've got potentially a movie reboot, another CGI movie coming. What else is coming up for Resident Evil? We might even do a whole thing on Resident Evil, I reckon, because we got Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 8.
The Village.
Netflix show, and then apparently they've asked Miller to come back and do another mini-series or another show as well, separate to that, continue on her string of movies. So they're trying to milk it, and as you do when you're trying to make money, especially at the moment, Netflix is going to really take off, and the more exclusive things they can get can only help them with Disney's channel.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'll do an evil thing later on down the track.
Yeah. You know, I can't really imagine, like High School Musical versus Resident Evil, side by side. I don't see it happening. So yeah, it's got to be on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good choice. Yeah. Resident Evil 2.
Might surprise you, my next one. Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, hell no. That's a great game.
Yeah, most people play Mario 64, which I haven't finished yet. I'll admit that. That is pretty bad. So I've played a fair bit of Mario 64, but I haven't finished Mario 64. But Banjo-Kazooie, Rare pushed Nintendo to their limits. I think Nintendo's games were better because of Rare.
Hell yeah.
They really did. Diddy Kong Racing, stuff like that. Your Jet Force Geminis, your GoldenEyes, your Perfect Darks. We all know Nintendo.
64.
DK60. not everyone's perfect, okay?
Everyone has a bad day. You know, it's all right. It's all right.
I still like Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
As bad as it was a fetch quest game and there was way too much to collect, it still has its charm.
Yeah.
It does. There's still a charm there about it. I did play it on the Wii U when they released it on the Wii U Virtual Console. I had a little go,
Key
which
question,
was a surprise.
Nick. Key question. Do you have the Donkey Kong 64 rap as a ringtone on your phone? And do you listen to it?
I don't, but I have in the past. Yes.
Oh, do you know the lyrics? Can you do it for me?
I don't actually. I don't know the lyrics. We'll do
You
that
lie.
later.
You just don't want to perform. Perform, my performing monkey.
We can do a musical episode later on down the track, I reckon.
No way.
Audio
Yeah,
one. Favorite
I'll tell you what I used to
musical
do. If you want to talk about gaming ringtones, right? A few
Yep.
years ago, I put the music from Sonic when you're in the water and the timer goes down and you're
Yes.
about to die, right? And it goes, all right. So I set that as my ringtone. And whenever it went off, you could see people around you, like something would trigger in their heads, something unlocked from their childhood, and you could see the look of panic on their face. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so good. So Banjo-Kazooie, just as a platformer, camera issues aside,
Yeah.
even playing the remake on the Xbox 360, I finished 100%, and I've played it again on the Xbox One as well. Just so much fun. It's so much charm. It's just.
But you know what I'm hearing, man? When you say all of this, the only thing I hear is that Xbox ruins things. Right? That's all I hear. Xbox got Perfect Dark. What did they do with it? They ruined it. Oh, okay. All right. They got Banjo-Kazooie. Nuts and Bolts came out. They ruined it. Okay. All right. That's what I'm hearing here, man. Xbox ruins stuff.
Nuts and Bolts has a fan following. There is a group of about 6 people that like Nuts.
I was going to say, yeah, I bet all 6 of them play it on a daily basis. Yeah.
I'm sure they still do. It's available on Xbox One with backwards compatibility too. How many games do you play with your backwards compatibility?
Oh, you play PS2 games?
Of course.
Yeah.
They're free. You don't have to pay for them again.
Yeah. Oh, and if you got, was it PlayStation Now? You can technically play those PS3 games and the PS2 games and the PS4 games. It's just here in Australia, our internet's a bit crap. But other than that, it's available, kinda.
I suspect we'll get PlayStation Now soon, and I want to try it out personally. I do.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man's being added to that, they announced, which is pretty good. So
yeah, that option to actually download the games, that might make life a little bit easier.
Into your Game Pass option, it's definitely more Netflix than what Game Pass is. Game Pass really isn't Netflix at all. It's completely different. So, but yeah, we can talk about PlayStation Now and Game Pass later on down the track too, and see what Sony and Microsoft are going to do going forward with those things. Because I think
that'd be a good topic actually. Because there's no doubt both are going to expand on that significantly.
Well, Sony's already said that's what they want to go to. So that's their less emphasis on hardware sales and more on subscriptions, because that's where the money is these days. So we'll see where Sony goes. I think they're going to announce some changes to PS Now and announce it's coming out in other countries as well. They're pretty quiet at the moment, so I suspect they will have something big to say about PS Now.
That's a pretty good bet. Yeah.
Advertisement pop up on the PlayStation Now Australian store. It popped up as an advertisement for PlayStation Now. So
hey, the gen's almost over. Why didn't you try this thing everyone else was trying 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Thanks, Australia.
Yeah, it should come. So 5th and last is Shadow Man.
Ooh, another good choice.
It was hard to get that in there. There's a few others. There's a few others that could have snuck in there, but I'm going with Shadow Man. Recently played through it again on the PC with fan-made mod pack for high-res graphics, which is good. Works really well.
They're doing a remake, aren't they?
And that's what I was about to get to, yes.
Yay! Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
It's not going to be like a remake, but they're actually going to be adding in deleted stuff from the game. So there's another bad guy. It's hard to explain, but there's a bad guy you fight in the same level as another bad guy, and he was supposed to have his own level, and it got scrapped at the last minute. So we're hoping that you get a whole new level
That
It's
would
not
be
a huge thing. It was
cool.
a little smallish thing where you get to fight this guy that was completely deleted from the game, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that was deleted as well, for time restraints and budget restraints. So a lot of it's still in the game files. You can actually dig through and hack through and find it. So
So what would you do if that was a PS5 exclusive?
I'd have to buy a PS5.
Yeah.
I would.
Good, good. Yeah.
And if it's
Join
like
us.
if it's a top 5 game and it's only on one hardware, I think you need to buy that hardware.
You would, wouldn't you? Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. I will be buying a PS5. I'm sure we'll get a lot of backwards compatibility with PS4 titles on that. So there's a couple I still need to go through. And it's going to have so many good exclusives that you can't not buy the PS5s.
Yeah, but like we've said before, it sounds like Microsoft are making some good moves too. So it'd be quite interesting to see what exclusives they come up with in the next few months.
Studios there, they said last year that they're a publishing studio, so games like Battletoads, Flight Simulator, and that indie game. What's that called?
I love how hard you're trying.
I'm not trying hard. No, I'm just trying to remember. My memories.
Battletoads, a remake of a NES game that not many people actually like, and
I
Flight
wonder if they're going
Simulator.
to keep it as difficult as the original was. I'm keen for Battletoads. I was just playing Streets of Rage 4 not long ago.
It's pretty good. It's actually pretty good.
It's so much fun.
It is.
Again, it's a couch game. You sit down with a friend, and so I am interested in Battletoads. I think
me too, to be fair.
It's going to really take off for Microsoft. I think they'll be one of those games, kind of like Sea of Thieves, that hangs around for a fair while. And using the Google Maps for that, amazing. So those kind of studios bringing things back. Hopefully, they can bring back a Banjo-Kazooie with another studio. I mean, Rare's busy doing Everwild and Sea of Thieves, then we can get some other studio, maybe even, who made the old Rare guys that made that, having a mind blank at the moment, that platformer that just come out with the lizard.
See, now I've got Gex in mind now.
No, not Gex. God, I'm having a mind blank. I can look it up quickly, I guess.
Was it on Nintendo?
Just released it on the Switch. They just released it on the Switch, and then that version, the Switch version, is coming out on Xbox and PlayStation as well.
Ah, okay.
And they were calling it the Banjo-Kazooie successor. Ukulele, Jesus.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I don't know. Have you played any of them?
Ukulele, yes, I played Ukulele. I downloaded, played it, and wasn't a huge fan, unfortunately. It has a lot of, apparently it's been fixed a fair bit. A few patches come out, but the camera was atrocious. It was really, so I did have a little play. But so that's Playtonic Games, and there was rumors that they were teasing that they're making a Banjo, and they had to come out and say, no, we're not. But someone like that, Microsoft could pay some money to get them to do a Banjo-Kazooie reboot, or even just a remaster or remake like the previous ones we got for Crash and Spyro. They were really good.
Yeah, you're right. Ukulele, like, you could see the potential in it, and it at times definitely felt like those old Banjo-Kazooie games. But there was some of the soul was missing. But if you budget, I guess. But if you actually tried the follow-up that they did, it was called Impossible Lair, and it was like a 2D side scroller, more in the style of like the Donkey Kong Country Returns games. It's actually really good. Like, it's a good challenge. The animations are pretty, stunning. I'd give it a shot. Honestly, it might surprise you. I think that's probably the direction Ukulele needs to go down, more than sort of these open world collectathons. But who knows? If they actually got to make Banjo 3, I'd at least check it out. See what happens. Yeah.
They just announced that one is coming to PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So it's not a Switch exclusive anymore, which was a bit strange when they announced that, to be honest.
Maybe the first Ukulele sold better on Switch than it did on the other two consoles. I don't know.
A lot of Nintendo fans there, so that would make sense. So that was top 5. Shadow Man, my version, what I call the adult version of Zelda.
I'm seeing a pattern though, dude. That sounds like, is it? No, yeah, it's right. 5 N64 games. Hang on, or you had what?
Or
GoldenEye, Resident
Cube,
Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2. I did play on the PlayStation, the original. You get
Yeah.
the version, but I fell in love with Resident Evil 2 on the PlayStation at a friend's place.
Mm.
Got the N64 version with the, I don't know how they managed to fit that onto a cartridge, but they did.
Mm.
Got a good story about me getting my copy of that. I'll tell you that another day when we do
Yeah.
a story. And
Shadow Man
yeah,
was
Louis
N64.
another N64 game. Shadow Man's another N64 game. There's a lot of Nintendo and then a lot of Xbox.
I was good. You beat me to it. I was gonna say I don't see a single Xbox game there, man. Not a single one. I think you're just a poser. You're not a real Xbox fan.
Possibly. We figured it out soon, won't we? I guess in the
I guess we will.
next couple of months we'll work out whether I'm a faker.
Yeah. You're a hipster, an Xbox hipster.
Well,
You got to grow the beard out a bit though, man. You got to have like the proper like lumberjack beard if you want to be a hipster.
of course. And a bottle of Mountain Dew.
Yes. And your Doritos, yeah.
Doritos. Yeah. I do like Doritos and Mountain Dew, actually. So maybe I'm not fake after all.
There you go.
Although it has been a while since I drank some Mountain Dew.
Oh, was it you? Was it you that was telling me about the Mountain Dew flavored Doritos?
Yes, I showed you them. Yes.
Yeah.
I bought them.
Yeah. How were they?
Next question.
Mountain Dewy.
They weren't horrible, but yeah, you're not going to go buy them again.
No.
They're very weird. Honestly, it was more of a lime taste. It was very strange.
Oh, weird. Okay. All right. Well, I should probably confess my top 5 as well then, hey? My top 5 changes all the time. Like it's nigh on impossible.
Your top 5, of course, not final or anything that changes, but
Nah, that's the problem, man. Like, I agonized over this for about 30 minutes and I was looking at it and going, yeah, but that's not even true. Yeah, no. Like, yeah, it was 5 years ago, but is it now? I don't know. So I just tried to basically boil it down to games that I find myself returning to.
Yes.
Yeah. So there might be games that are...
Games that I will go back and just play again, just for the hell of it. Just because I love in that game. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there might be games that I enjoyed, like the one time I played it, really a lot on the way through, but I've not necessarily returned to. So, in no particular order, sorry. First one, you're going to guess this one very easily, is Shenmue.
Oh, what a shock. Didn't say that from a mile away.
Clutch your pearls there. Oh, no.
We're going to have to show your Shenmue collection off one day, I think, because it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, I'm not oblivious to this. I know that Shenmue has its flaws, and it has dated quite a bit, and some of it is awkward. But I think it has more to do with the time. So when I was 14, my family and I, we actually lived in Japan for a little while. And when we came back to the UK, Shenmue came out. And so it really meant a lot to me. It was sort of like reliving my life over there in Japan. And it really was like the details that they put in the game were things that I saw in real life. So I really felt like I connected with the world of Shenmue. And I just wanted to absorb it, just want to be immersed in it and seeing everything. And obviously... I was amongst the many fans who for 20 years was like, please give me Shenmue 3, please. And when I got it, it's, yeah, it's Shenmue, but it needed
Sure, you got it and you didn't have it. It's better to have it than not have it, right?
Yeah, like to be fair, like I did enjoy it, like Shenmue 3, and it's again very flawed and maybe slavishly devoted to feeling like the old Shenmue games. So as a fan, I enjoyed it, but I can be honest and say, yeah, they didn't really progress the story very much, and some of the mechanics were just cheap, really, really cheap. These game lengthening tactics they'll go like, you need to buy this alcohol, but it's $2,000, and you've got like $5 and it's going to take you like a week of in-game time to get that money, and he's like, oh. So yeah, I'm aware that it's not everyone's thing, but it's something that means a lot to me, and I've definitely gone back to Shenmue 1 and 2 countless
Yeah.
times, countless times. You know. Mm.
1 second, sorry.
Yeah.
Just an alarm for Garfield's tablet,
Okay.
but he's having a bit of a snooze, so I'll let him be for now.
All right. Did you ever play Shenmue?
I did at a friend's house once. I've never owned it. My mate Ben, he absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So sat down, played it. Again, like you said, it's one of those games back in the day where we're very short on time. These as gamers, that we don't want to sit down and do something for a week to progress in our game. We don't want games that last that long. A lot of us don't. We've got work, we've got commitments, so it's hard to invest that much time into or finishing a game 100% either. So for me, I've seen the charm, and especially when you told me about the whole iconic locations for Japan as well that they've got in the game. So yeah, not my cup of tea, obviously not my type of game, but I see the charm. I understand it completely. And I think my mate Robbie as well, massive Shenmue fan. So I don't hang around him anymore, but I'm sure he'd be loving. Well, he would have been so excited when 3 come out, because that's all he talked about. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an acquired taste, I think. It's not. I mean, it wasn't even that big at the time, So I get that. But you never know. I'm still holding out. Maybe there'll be Shenmue 4. I don't think they will.
He says
he wants to. Yeah, he says he wants to, but we'll see.
If the crowdfunding's there, I'm sure if they go that route,
yeah, he'll get my money.
He'll get a lot of people's money. I mean, look at Platinum Games.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a fan base there, people will just give their money away. So,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
It means that the fans get exactly what they want in a way, so that's good. Yeah. So, all right. My number 2 is going against what you said, because you have said Banjo. It is Mario 64. It really is. Yeah, and nothing against Banjo. Banjo was a great game. But Mario 64 is the one that even now, every so often, when I just need a bit of a palate cleanser, like if I played something like Resident Evil 2, the remake, for quite a long period of time, I just need something that's easy, where I don't really have to think about it. I know exactly where everything is. And that is a game that I will get all 120 stars every time. I've done it like maybe 7 or 8 times. I just getting all of them. And the goal is to get on Yoshi, find Yoshi at the top of the castle, and I want to ride. Why can't I ride Yoshi on that castle, man?
Maybe in the new rumored remake.
Maybe. Oh, that would be so cool. What do you reckon on that front? Do you think that would be like a full Mario Odyssey style remake, or do you think it would just be a high res, 4K, 60 frames a second, bit polish?
Hoping for an Odyssey engine type remake. I think with how hardcore Nintendo's come down on that PC port, so you've got Switch hacking groups out there that have been shut down. They've been running for ages. Nintendo hasn't shut them down, but because apparently they were in some of the code, they've really gone hard at them, and they're no longer hacking Switch consoles. So a lot of websites have been shut down, Reddit. They've gone hardcore against this version, which they would normally, don't get me wrong, but I think they've gone extra level against this. And that's because
you could look at it both ways, couldn't you? Because that is actually theft, right? People stole that source code.
Yeah, the ground up. It's theft. There's no other way of describing it.
That's totally understandable when they're within their rights to take it, and to shut it all down. But you're right, with the recent rumors of all those remasters, it does make you go, right. Is there a reason?
Hard. Yeah, why are you shutting down everything to do with, like, it's an old game, and unless they're worried it's going to affect their bottom line in the future, that's why they would go after it hardcore. Not that they wouldn't shut it down in the first place, but I hope it's an Odyssey remake. I do, but knowing Nintendo, we don't really get remakes. We get in between. I'd say a little bit above a remaster and a little bit below a remake with Nintendo when they do stuff. They just port it directly to that console. So, but fingers crossed for an Odyssey remake.
You say that, but they had Link's Awakening remake last year, which obviously mechanically played the same pretty much, as the original, but they did. That was I would say that's a full remake. Brand new graphics, brand new art style. Yeah,
new art style. That's a full remake.
yeah.
And then if you look at, so it's hard because they do add extra features to any of their so-called remasters. The 3D version of Ocarina of Time, Mario 64 DS, they tend to add stuff to it. I mean, Ocarina, they fixed the glitches and bugs, so it's not just here's a cheap 3D version. They put effort into when they do it. It's not like a lot of other companies that just go, here's a high-res bump, play.
So that's what makes me think maybe it would be a proper remake. Whether it will be Odyssey style, I don't know. But they would at least. I don't think they would just chuck the ROM out and go, here you go. But you never know.
You see that ROM hack, 64 ROM hack that has Mario Odyssey in it. So somebody went and created the whole Mario Odyssey game in Mario 64.
How cool.
People
are so clever. I haven't
released it to the public, but there's a YouTube video. It's incredible. It's just incredible. It just looks like Odyssey in Mario 64. Like, just, and somebody did that with, that's a pretty popular ROM. It's a ROM hack for GoldenEye that's been fully put into Perfect Dark's engine. So you're playing GoldenEye in Perfect Dark. Cool. You get all the reload animations and the enemies grabbing their arms. And it's weird because they still call Bond Joanna. But it's just a full engine swap for an older game. And they've done the reverse. They've put a newer game into an older engine. So really
smart, man. They're so clever. That's so cool.
Anybody else interested to see that? Yeah, it's on YouTube. There's a video and there's a fair bit of video too. So check it out. It's really good.
All right, will do. Well, you've actually named the other one. My third one would be indeed Ocarina of Time. And I know it's on everyone's list, but you know what? It's a damn good game. And again, it's the one that I go back to. I am happy to admit that Breath of the Wild is probably the way superior game. Yep. Maybe even Wind Waker is superior to it. But it's the one I go back to over and over and over again. When I know where everything is, I know how to get to the next bit, and it just makes me feel good. So yeah, that made it in there.
I had an argument with a guy as a security guard at JB Hi-Fi, and he was a big Nintendo fan. We'd always argue what was the best game ever made. And I'd say GoldenEye, and he'd say Ocarina of Time. But we both agree that either can swap. Like they're both probably, if you were to go best N64 game, they're probably both there along with Mario 64. But even best game of all time, they're up there. They're in the talking list, and it's hard to argue. So, can't disagree with you there.
You're not wrong.
Incredible. It's an incredible game.
Yeah, it's just I think maybe that period of time there was just this real moment of intense creativity from all of those game developers where they were all experimenting and trying new things. And sometimes you got GoldenEye and Ocarina of Time, and other times you got Bubsy 3D, but people were figuring things out. It was such a cool time to be in. And I always thought the GameCube as well, after you had a similar thing, they took some real risks with some of those games, Sunshine, when you've gone from Mario 64 to Sunshine, completely different mechanics. Some people hate it, but they were trying new things. Yeah. Kirby's Air Ride. What the hell is Kirby's Air Ride? But they were trying things out. F-Zero. F-Zero gave it to Sega to do it, and they made an amazing job on it.
That was the Sparkless Arcade. Do you remember that when Namco Nintendo were doing games for the arcade, mainly in Japan, America, but then they were bringing those games over to the consoles as well. So Nintendo even had a thing where you could take your memory card and plug it in the arcade to do your race time.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. They were cool. Very, very cool.
Again, thinking outside the box, bringing gamers together, no matter what hardware you're playing on. So
yeah, and old man rant number 2. All right, now it's just all about how many loot boxes can you sell.
Well, bringing gamers together, cross-play. Nintendo and Xbox wanted cross-play, Sony didn't. Yeah. Got to bring gamers together, get togetherness. Yeah. So Nintendo's been like that from back in the past.
Triple your audience, then you can sell way more loot boxes.
Way more loot boxes. That's where the money's in. Loot boxes and microtransactions. Billions of dollars.
Yes.
Buy this weapon skin. Buy this outfit.
Buy this unlimited rocket launcher for Resident Evil 2.
I know. Who would do that?
Scumbag. Total scumbag.
Yeah, not a gamer, not a gamer.
Just an imitator.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Type of guy that just push button codes or Konami code on every game you bought.
Oh, the Konami code. Oh, yeah. Number 4 is actually also a Resident Evil game, but I went with Resident Evil 4.
Yes.
Now, I don't
Why?
disagree with you. Resident Evil 2 is an awesome, awesome game, both the original and the remake. But 4 is the one that, again, I just go back to over and over and over again, where I'm just like, you know what? I just want to shoot some zombies. And that's the one that I go to. And I still think it stands up today. It still plays well. It looks gorgeous. Yeah, it's aged a little bit, but overall, it works really, really well. And I think as well, for me, that was the last time that Resident Evil was truly campy, with like these over the top, ridiculous villains. Like you had that little, like, what do you call it, the Napoleon Bonaparte type villain thing. And yeah, it's just silly and it doesn't take itself too seriously. Even with an annoying sidekick like Ashley.
Well, and yeah, Ashley's so annoying. You just got to unlock that armor for her and don't need to worry about it then.
Nah, I just threw her in the box. Here, wait there for a while. I go take everyone out. And like, okay, all right, now you can come.
Every replay I do, I give her the armor costume. So she's invincible because she's just so annoying. But besides that, the game was huge. It was a big game. You think you're getting towards the end, and then there's just more and more and more. And Leon, iconic character. And I guess, talking to Resident Evil, we have to say our respects for Paul as well, the voice actor for Leon. Rest in peace. Very sad. He didn't get brought back for the remake, unfortunately, but was very involved in the Resident Evil community, always on podcasts, always on all the Twitter pages and getting involved and doing live streams, and very passionate about Resident Evil as well. So not just in it for a paycheck. He was a gamer and he loved it. So yeah, rest in peace to Paul Haddad. Moving on from that Resident Evil, before we move on from that Resident Evil to your next game, the potential for the remake. How do you see that one going down?
See, for me, that feels like the most unnecessary one. It really does. Again, I'm not saying anything new here. I truly believe that Code Veronica should be the next remake. And I still love that game. That was one of the other ones that I couldn't quite decide whether it should be top 5 or not. It was Resident Evil 4 or Code Veronica. Because that was one of the first games that I had on my Dreamcast when I first got it. Yeah. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Claire Redfield's brilliant in it. It's got a decent challenge to it, some cool monsters. The dogs are still rubbish as usual, and I hate them. But that's the one I feel deserves a little bit more of a remake, and I guess mainly because it's the last one of those, which like the fixed camera games, with the tank controls a little bit. So, well, as in Resident Evil 4 was that over-the-shoulder look already. They kind of perfected it.
Towards action, Resident Evil 4. It was the first step towards action.
Yeah.
The big thing with that is, and I've said this before, that Resident Evil 3 was actually a spin-off called Resident Evil Nemesis.
Yes.
And it was never going to be called 3. And Code Veronica was the true 3.
Mm.
So it was strange that we got a remake of Resident Evil 3 so quick, but as we discussed, not out of the realms of being smart and saving money, because you're reusing assets to make that third one. So I guess that's why they went that route. And that new studio that they created supposedly didn't do a lot of work. That M2 that was the director, they didn't do a lot of work on the remake.
Mm.
I think they said 7 different companies made Remake 3. 7.
Really?
Yeah, doing a lot of the audio, the mocap and all that. So it was actually done at a lot of different places around the world and all come together. That Resident Evil 4 remake has been designed by M2, and that's why they were brought together to do Resident Evil 4. They weren't actually designed to do Resident Evil, or invented to do Resident Evil 3. It was to do Resident Evil 4, and that's been in production for a while. They actually have been shipping away Resident Evil 4 remake for a fair while now.
Allegedly.
So Capcom have been pretty aggressive with their remakes. As much as I want to Code Veronica, I actually prefer to get number 1 redone again, even though the argument in it doesn't need to be done. I still believe it does. It's still got the tank controls. And it still has pretty cheesy voice acting. So that was my tough one as well. I always struggled between Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 4. Code Veronica wasn't my big one. But if you were to go with it, I think, Code Veronica probably should have been the next one to get done.
You don't want Resident Evil Survivor?
Sorry, what was that on again?
Yeah. It's that one that nobody talks about because it's like it's only for the cool kids, you know.
It's for the cool kid.
Yeah.
The ones that pay for rocket launchers and Gatling guns.
Yeah. Hey, at the top of this podcast, you said to me that you are a first-person shooter fan. So why did you not shoot Survivor? Oh no, that's because you've got other things. You've got things like was it Raccoons? Not Raccoon City. Operation Raccoon City.
Raccoon City. That's potentially worse than 6, I guess. Yeah. Let's pretend that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So,
kind of like other ramble.
But you know what? Like, okay, so just theorizing with modern graphics, modern controls, modern design sensibilities, could Resident Evil Survivor work better now than on the PS1? Which was, if I remember right, you used the D-pad, didn't it? Like to try and move around. Yeah.
Yes.
Like one of those old. Go on.
100%, I agree. If it was done properly today, it would be popular. It would work. A lot of people don't realize there's a fair bit of story in those games as well that that's left out of the main series. So, we've got the other spin-offs, Revelations, which are great as well. They're great in their own right. Probably a little bit lower on the money and production scale, but they're good. But they deserve to come back as well. There's a big fan base that calls for the Survivor games as much as it's a
I'd be at least curious. I wouldn't have high expectations, but I'd be curious to see what they put together.
I reckon, and it'd sell. Anything Resident Evil sells these days. They can't, even if you can sell those horrible movies. I mean, you can sell anything Resident Evil. Just slap Resident Evil on it, it's going to sell.
You know what remake they should make instead, though? Resident Evil Gaiden.
That is amazing. I play that at least once a year.
Do you really? Yeah.
No. No.
There's a Game Boy game remade with PS4 graphics or Series X graphics. I'd be down with that.
Yeah, little. That was Again, that trying to make money back in the day, weren't they? They port Resident Evil to anything. How many copies or how many versions of Resident Evil 4 do we have now?
Literally. It's just GameCube exclusive.
No. That was probably the worst exclusive ever announced. Worst timed exclusive.
You've got the chainsaw though, right? The chainsaw controller.
I do. I've got that.
Go on, show the people what they want.
Give me a second. There we go.
Oh, look at that. It's a thing of beauty.
And it's never been taken out of the box. Got a little peek here. My little Resident Evil section. But yeah, it's not too bad. I picked that up. Probably shouldn't say how much I got it for, actually. Got it for $30.
Oh, wow. Bargain.
They've been on filet, and they were on clearance for $60, and the cost price come down to 30. So, yes, I snatched that up as quick as I could.
Yeah. How much do they go for now?
$350 to $400.
Yeah, hold on to that bad boy. Yeah.
I think I'll just hold on to it for a little while. That's because there's a lot of PlayStation ones around, which was the red chainsaw. They had a different chainsaw with the PlayStation. So yeah, the GameCube one's just a little bit more pricey, especially trying to find a PAL version. Not that it matters, but it was released in Australia, that one. So it sits over there with the other Resident Evil stuff.
Not bad, eh? And my final one, dude, I really struggled over this as well. And I think this one could easily be thrown out because they would change all the time. But I've put in there just generally Bomberman.
Bomberman. See, I played that a lot. Bomberman 64, to be honest. Yeah. Multiplayer. That was another guilty, get some pizza, sit down, Bomberman 64. It was so much fun.
And I think that's what it is, man. Like it's one of those, even now, right? So I work as a teacher, and we sometimes hook up the Switch, up to our projectors. And I got the kids playing Bomberman, and they'd never heard of it before, and they were hooked, absolutely hooked, because it's just fun. You don't need to be good at it. And every time you try something new, you develop your own strategies. I love it. I think I first played it on the Super Nintendo way back. Yeah. But yeah, even to this day, still love it. Still love it. It's a great game. Like you said, pizzas, beers, friends around, Bomberman.
And it was usually Bomberman. A couple of my mates, we played Wayne Gretzky's.
Okay. All right. Well, of course, you do know that obviously Xbox ruined another game. All right, Bomberman. Do I dare say the words Bomberman Act Zero to you, Nick?
Don't know what you're talking about.
You don't? You don't? No? No? All right, because I feel like that was a game made specifically for Xbox fans. And what do they think Xbox fans like?
Okay, it was another failed. There's a big list you're getting here. Did you write these down before we started?
No, this is quite coincidental that it's going to happen that way.
I think I might need to write down some notes next time.
Ah, yeah. So hang on, just so we're clear, we've got what? Perfect Dark was ruined.
Perfect Dark Zero.
Zooey was ruined. Bomberman was ruined.
That's 3.
Yeah.
I'll have a think and see if Sony's ruined anything in the past. I mean, obviously not to you ponies. Everything they touch is gold.
Obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a reason why we're in first place.
Good marketing, clever marketing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And a good console, good exclusives. Yeah. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with it. There's good exclusives there. They work really well.
Yeah.
They're just the same game reskinned, but they work really well. They sell really well.
All right. You know what? I'll throw you a bone just to sort of close up here. All right. Yeah. I did put together 5 games that I did play when I had the OG Xbox. All right. The big beast. All right. And some of them, admittedly, did appear on other consoles as well, but this is where I experienced them. Right? Yeah. So here we go. I'll throw you a bone. For me, obviously, the big one that I loved was Halo 2. Like it's a classic, absolute classic. Like no doubt, Microsoft perfected that whole split screen multiplayer. And actually getting FPSs to work properly with the dual joystick. Yeah, still one of the best. No doubt.
You can do that in GoldenEye 007. I told you that the other day. You
did. With 2 controllers.
It was fun. Years ahead of itself. Yeah. Wasn't the developer's problem. That was because the console was designed for Mario 64. The controller was designed for Mario 64. So, yeah, but you're right.
I'll give you that. Halo 2, amazing. Absolutely amazing. One that not many people have heard of, but is a real guilty pleasure. Stubbs the Zombie. Rebel Without a Pulse.
Game. That's a good game. I played that, and that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun.
It was such a good game. It was just fun. It was stupid and silly, but fun. Yeah, they should remake that. I'd be down for that. If they're going to remake Destroy All Humans, they can remake Stubbs the Zombie.
Yeah, exactly. If we get a Destroy All Humans remake, let's get Stubbs the Zombie.
Yeah. So this is where it starts going into games that I know appeared elsewhere, but this is where I tried them. Black.
Black is awesome. I've actually played through that again on my Xbox One.
Yeah.
Through backwards compatibility. I've saying that a lot, aren't I? I'm not talking about a lot of.
Yeah, it's almost like you're rubbing it in. I don't know. Weird, yeah. You watch South Park, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You remind me of the cable guys who are rubbing their nipples and going, "Oh, you want to go to another cable company? Oh, that's you right now. It's like, you want backwards compatibility? Oh, sorry. Oh, that's you right now."
It's all we've got at the moment. We don't have much else.
But yeah, no, Black. I remember Black coming out, and the big marketing thing behind it was obviously you could destroy everything, and it was great fun. You couldn't quite destroy everything, but at the time, it looked great. It was really fun, and I don't know why they didn't make a sequel.
No idea. Who did develop that? I'm trying to remember. Let me just look it up. I know we're running out of time. Black.
EA and Criterion.
That's right. It was the weirdest thing ever. There you go. Look at you go.
Yeah. Woo.
They made Burnout. They're the guys that made Burnout. How do you make a Burnout game and then go make one of the best action?
They did a good job. They did a good job.
Okay. Absolutely perfect. Plays really well on Xbox One X if you want to have a go at that.
I'd love to try that. I absolutely would. No, genuinely, I'd love to give that a go.
It does. It plays really well. It's
Yeah.
nice little backpedal title.
The other game, number 4, where I just lost countless hours playing, was Mashed. So kind of like a at the time, modern version of what do you call a little card? Go around the micro machines. Micro machines. Yes. So kind of a modern version of that. We got way too drunk and played that way too many times.
My mate Bo, that's our favourite. That and Mario Tennis are our favourite multiplayer games to play together. I actually booted that up and showed my girlfriend last week, Mashed. She wasn't that impressed. But I was sitting there going, this is so much fun. She's like, let's play Gears of War. Okay, then.
Doesn't understand.
She does like Gears of War, so it's okay. It's okay. We play Gears of War together, so it's okay.
I can't wait for Gears of War 27 to come out on next gen. That's going to be fun.
It's all right. We'll play Uncharted 30 as well on PS5.
Yeah, I'll be there day one. And my last one is another one where I can't believe they didn't make a sequel to, and it's called Gun.
That was amazing.
It was amazing.
Didn't they get some good voice actors into that Gun video game?
So yeah, Gun's a little bit like Red Dead Redemption. I think it even came out around a similar sort of time. It must have been just because it was PS2 and Xbox, so maybe the gen before.
It was PlayStation Portable. I didn't know that. GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, and Xbox. So that was on the original Xbox and Windows, and then they ported it to 360, PlayStation 2, and GameCube. I played it on the GameCube. I actually didn't play it on the Xbox. Developer was Neversoft.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And a couple others, Beanox and Rebellion as well. So, yeah, crazy. I'm pretty sure it was one of my favorite as well, like back in that era, 360 era. But I definitely played it on GameCube. So you played that on the Xbox?
I did. Yeah, I played it on the Beast. I think I had the Duke controller at the time for it. So yeah, that was great fun. It was Red Dead Redemption before Red Dead Redemption, and I'd have to play it again to remind myself, but I felt like the missions were a bit more varied. It wasn't just go here, kill this person, go back. There was a bit more going on.
A lot more going on. I was right. So the voice actors in that game, they must have paid a bit of money for this. Thomas Jane.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Lance Henriksen, which is just huge. Ron Perlman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Chris Christopherson.
Yes, I remember him being in it. Yeah, he was the dad or mentor figure or whatever at the beginning. Yeah.
Nolan North.
I just assume he's in everything.
Yeah, he is in everything. But yeah, there's obviously more. But that's a top tier celebrity, Hollywood celebrities there to do a video game. So I guess that's probably around the time they were doing that as well, where they were trying to throw that gimmick in. But yeah, it was a brilliant game. I actually want to play that now. So
maybe we'll go off and do that. Yeah,
we can play that together. Actually, that's a very good game.
I'm down for that. Let's make it happen.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think that's a good time to stop there, Nick.
Yep, been going long enough.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us on Xbot and Pony. Why don't you add your own comments below? Why don't you tell us what are your top 5 favorite games of all time, and why is Sony just so much better than Microsoft?
That's a good idea. Make sure you like and subscribe the video as well. Share away, and any Xbots out there that want to show these ponies that Microsoft isn't going to stay down for the 10 count. They're getting back up, and they're going to go around again, and we'll have a rematch.
Damn straight. I'm going to go buy me some Mountain Dew Doritos. Bye.
Enjoy. See you, mate.